We're going to get started. And so Jen and I are going to be taking over TNT today. This is not going to be a day that Bill's going to be able to join us, but the format is the same. We'd love for you to start thinking about those questions you want to ask us and raise your hand virtually so that we know you have something you want to share with us. Also, I want to remind you that, of course, even though this is digital, we see all, hear all. And so make sure you want it to be on camera and you want it to be heard if you've got your microphone unmuted, which means you should be muted unless you're myself or Jen, or you're the person asking the question. And by the way, you may not realize it, but sometimes when you move something on your desk, the vibration, Zoom will unmute you and you didn't even know you were unmuted. So your phone calls are being heard, everything's being heard. So please be attentive to that little microphone and know that you're muted. We would love for you to start your questions this way. My question is after you tell us your name and your state. So I need to know your state because the laws are different in 50 different states. And then if you say, and my question is, and then if your question isn't clear enough, or we need more backstory to that, Jen or I will ask you for that. And I understand sometimes you might have something you want to contribute. You're not the question person, but please don't unmute and say, can I jump in? You could send a chat to Jen or myself and see if we can work that in. And then, you know, there's another whole world going on in the chat. So some questions we're going to move to the chat because there's a lot of experience and knowledge sitting in the chat group. And so sometimes that's a better place to get your question answered than just my one perspective or Jen's one perspective. All right, so all that being said, let's see what we got. Oh yeah, we've got almost 100 people, so I think we're ready, and we'll have one or two announcements along the way. And so if you would put your hand up virtually, that would be great so that we know you want to ask a question.
Let me start really quick, Laura, just for those that don't know, my name is, I don't know that everybody on here knows who I am. So they might be like, who's this chick hosting with Laura today? We don't know who she is, but my name is Jen Neitzel. I am the creator of Signing Agent Marketing at SAM for short. And my name is actually Jen, not Sam, but if you call me Sam, I will answer. And Laura, Bill, and I have created the Notary Business Builder, which is an advanced notary community. So I am thrilled to be here to help fill in for Bill today and help answer any questions you have. If you guys have any marketing questions, I'm your gal. Let me know what I can do to help you with your marketing challenges. So who has some questions for us today? Guys, just raise your hand.
Yeah, you got to do that virtual hand so that you get moved up where I can see you because there's more people than I can see.
Hey, Peter, how are you?
Hang on one second. There we are. How you doing?
Hey, good, Peter. What's your question?
Good.
Welcome.
From Chicago. Hi, Patricia. From Chicago, and I've got a question about an event that is taking place this week. I actually have a ticket for both days, and it is called the Chicago Build 2022. And it's going to be down at the McCormick Place, which is a huge convention center that is run in the mid you know, there a lot of events take place all the time there. In any event, so what is going to be there is thousands of visitors from contractors, architects, civil engineers, developers, government, realtors, construction profs, and more. And there's even a networking place that you can go as well. So my question is, this is going to be so big. I'm going to go down there, but it's so big. I'm not sure where I should start. And I just got done, Jen, looking at the builders video that you and Bill put on together
Yeah.
months ago, just to get an idea of, again, of what I should, what I should do. But do you have any ideas? If you've got something like that in your backyard, where should you go? What should you do there?
Well, first things first, kudos to you for taking on such a large event. Is networking something that you do with any regularity?
No.
Okay.
I have. I sometimes I'll go on sprints and sometimes I don't at all. So.
Okay. So yeah, taking on a big event like this is extremely intimidating, obviously,
Yeah.
especially when you're in such a large city and there's going to be so many people there. And so kind of level set your expectation. Realistically, you're going for one day, correct?
2
days. And you
Yeah.
said there's a marketing or networking opportunity there, and you've
Right.
purchased the ticket for that, correct?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. So for that, I don't want to really focus too much on that, because if you've been to a networking group before, it's about meeting different people, talking about what you do, perfecting, having your elevator pitch
Right.
in your pocket, ready to go, and passing out business cards, creating just the smallest little introductions and seeds of potential relationships. What I do want to focus on, because I'm assuming that's probably only an hour or two. Is that accurate?
There are several networking events. So
Okay.
one is 2 hours, another one is in the evening. So it just depends on what you want.
Go to the ones that you can get to, because that's when people are casual, they're having a drink, go visit those folks. When it comes to the actual event itself, where it's an entire convention center with booth after booth after booth after booth, and it's just like, oh my God. Talk to the people that make the decisions about hiring notaries. And that's going to be your title companies that are participating, your realtors that are participating. And if you're talking to the actual home builders themselves, the engineers, all those people aren't going to be able to help you. You can skip over those, right? If you're talking to the home builder themselves, introduce yourself, let them know what you do, why it's important for them to know good notaries, but find out who their title company is. Do they have their own title company, which a lot of national builders do, or do they utilize someone locally? And then take it a step farther and say, do you have a connection there? I would love to speak to your friend Susie at XYZ title company that you use. I'd love to tell her about my services. Do you have her number? Can I get that from you? So you have to think about, in a big situation like that, where your business comes from. And again, just to reiterate, title, if they're there, the contractors are not going to know. The contractor's not the one that hires you. The home builder's not the one that hires you.
Right.
It's their title company. So talk to them, but you're gonna have to dig and find out who their title company is. And always, if you can, talk with realtors and help make connections with realtors, if you know some title companies and you can introduce them to realtors and vice versa, then you definitely want to do that as well.
Okay.
Does that answer your specific question?
Yeah.
Okay.
It gives me a start. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. And if you need any other tips, you guys can always email me, sam@signingagentmarketing.com.
Thank you.
If any question. When is this again?
Thursday and Friday this week.
Awesome. I want to hear about it. I want to hear about how it went. So you have to come back. Well, I don't think we're having TNT next week, right, Laura? So week after.
Right.
You'll have to come back and tell me about it. I want to hear about it.
I'll let you know.
Awesome.
Fabulous. Peter, thanks for sharing that. And thanks for sharing it, because there's other people on this call who may think, oh, I don't have to just go to a notary networking event. I can go to any kind of networking event and perhaps identify non-notary contacts, right? Who else can be on my team? Who else can I make connections with? And that's a great way to do it. So thanks for sharing that. Jen, the other Jen, Jennifer Cooper, why don't you unmute?
Hi, you guys. I don't have
Hi.
a question. I just wanted to take an opportunity, since there are very few hands up, to say it's so good to see your faces and be back in TNT today. And that's it. And yes, I'll stop trying to unmute myself every time you say Jen, because I was doing that. I'm JC when we're in the same house together, me and Jennifer.
There you go. Yes. Yes. And y'all know
That's all.
my son's name is Cooper. So every time I see her name and the participants, I always think about me and which is a great thing, right? So
Keeps me top of mind.
there you go. There you go. Hey, Shayla.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Long time no see.
Oh, I know. Just a couple hours ago. So this one might be a better question for Laura. I had noticed in the NNA bulletin that just came out that there was the Model Notary Act of 2022. Can you give us an idea as to like more about what that is about?
So it's a framework. And a lot of times it's utilized by states who really don't have clear, well thought out statutes. So there's a lot of blank spaces or silence in the law. And so this is a best practice guide for states. If your state does not address certain things, you could look there and it would give you an idea of how you might want to address it instead. Some states have actually used it towards writing some of their statutes. And so I think the NNA is planning to put out how to make use of it. But I personally use it when I come up with the state doesn't say what to do. Let me see if this is addressed over here. And so that's really how we would make use of it. It comes after the handbook, that's first. And then when the handbook doesn't tell us what to do, then we can look there. There are some areas I noticed that they take vague statements from the statute that they don't define what that means, and they give a recommendation. You know, best idea is that this means this. So for instance, physical description in many states is not defined. Does that mean 4 pieces of information like what's on our driver's license? Can it be 1 piece of information? What's the best piece of information, right? So the statute doesn't go into that. Some statutes do, but most do not. And so this is something that really can be of good support, supporting documentation for a notary.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad you asked that, Shayla. I was wondering that myself when I got that email.
I have that book and I utilize that often when I'm looking for other states' information and I don't find anything. Then I start looking for, all right, what would be recommended instead? And you know, the NNA does not produce primers for all 50 states. So this is like another book that I can look to for information.
Awesome.
And it's available free downloadable format, I believe.
It's my favorite price,
but
free. Me and Phil, it's our favorite price, right, Phil? It's free.
Yeah, free. All right, Brenda. Please unmute.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, Brenda. What
Okay.
city are you in?
California. I'm in California.
Beautiful.
So I want to say hello to everyone. But I received a phone call last week, and it was for a letter of authorization to travel out of the state. And she asked me if I would type up the letter for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her no, because I don't know if any of you ever had a call like that and been asked that, and if you did it or not. So I refused it because I didn't know if I should do it or not. So she said, well, okay, I just won't never use your services. She got upset about it, but I didn't want to put myself in a situation and then something happened. And so I just wanted to know, what would you have done in a situation like that?
You bet. So Brenda, was that an authorization to take a minor out of the state?
Correct. She was giving her husband authorization to travel with the minor.
So no, I would not prepare it. However, rather than saying, no, I can't help you with that, I would be offering, what are the other ways she can get it done? So there are several free versions of what that could look like on the internet. So she could have Googled that, and then she could have created her own from those examples. Some of them are even downloadable. She could have just filled one of those out. There's a
Okay.
lot of variation, but they all have the same 5 or 6 basic points.
Correct.
I'm the parent. I'm not traveling, but I'm giving my kid permission to travel. Here's their identification information with whoever they're going, and here's where they're going, and here's how long they're going to stay. And
Right.
that's pretty much what it's about. So the other thing, if they said, and I let them know, you could even write it by hand yourself. Here's where you can go to see examples. No, I would really like somebody to prepare it for me. Then I have connections to legal document assistants or paralegals who can prepare documents, because that's not something I can do. So my
Right.
point
Okay.
here is a way the next time. I would love to hear you say, here's where you could get that done. And
Okay.
then if they're not a notary too, I could notarize it for you.
Okay.
Does that make
Thank you.
sense?
Yes.
Jen,
it
do you have
does.
anything you want to add to that?
Well, no, I mean, the only thing I would say is find a document preparer in your town. You're in
Okay.
California. Where exactly are you in California, Brenda?
Manteca.
She's like 20 minutes from me.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, I know Cammie has a preparation business. There's several folks that have document prep businesses. I would connect with someone there and let them know that you had this ask and that you're not comfortable doing it, but you would love to refer business to them. And in turn, maybe they can refer business to you as well.
Okay. So a document preparer.
They're called
Document.
legal document LDAs, legal document assistants,
Hi, guys.
or paralegals. Those
And
would be
there's
the
Cammie.
terminology.
Yeah, here I am. Yeah, so here in California, for the state of California, you have to be licensed and registered with the county to which you're working in as a legal document assistant or preparer. So it technically is illegal for you to do that outside of it unless you're a paralegal working
Right.
for an attorney
Yeah.
or this. But I'm more than happy to help you out with that if need be. And also there's another association called California Legal Assistant Document Assistants, CALDA, CALDA. And
Right.
you can get online and find one in your area if that will help you out better.
Right.
Thank
And
you. I
Brenda,
appreciate it.
make it a proactive move, meaning don't wait till the next time you have to come up with this.
Right.
Identify who that is and see if you can start to build a relationship with that person. I have them already in Modesto, so that I can just refer people over. But it started with meeting with them and saying, can I understand your business better? Can I understand what kind of documents you normally prepare? Can I understand, do you have notary services as well? Do you provide them mobily or just on site? Are you open 7 days of the week? Because I don't want to send somebody to you when you're closed, right? And I
Right.
just interviewed them so that they got the idea that I was serious about when could I refer people to them. I have that down in my own notes so I don't refer people to the wrong place at the wrong
Right.
time. And then I had that answer right in my back pocket for when that next time came up.
Okay. Thank you. That's very helpful. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thanks for asking it. I'm
a
sure. it
great
helped a lot
question.
of people. Us, come on, Celicia. Unmute yourself.
Celicia.
Alicia.
Oops.
Hold on,
Oops.
here I am. I was
There
on
you
the
are.
phone. Here I am. Hey, guys.
Okay.
So I made this appointment because the lady had called and said that she wanted me to come on board. They had a Zoom meeting. It was with a realty company. They were vetting some people for their preferred blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I'm thinking that they want to have a notary for their, group of realtors.
Yeah.
That's what they want for this large group of realtors, 60 realtors. They have 500 or 600 closings a year. Okay, great. So anyway, so then I get on there and it's nothing but a pitch to be in some kind of little brochure. So, you might think you're getting to the right people. You might think you're getting to the right place, but don't be fooled with imitations, I guess is what I'm trying to tell you. And I listened to all she had to say. And I said, but I'm a loan signing agent and I'm wanting to reach the people that are closing loans. Well, you'll be listed. And it's like, no. So just caveat, buyer beware. One more caveat, buyer beware. Never pay Yelp. I've got a gal that just put her, did that. We're going to give you $500 worth of free advertising. And of course, they're going to spend $500 worth of free advertising in about 2 days. And then they're going to start charging your credit card. So, my notary that's down there in Fort Myers, that's flooded out, lost her home, lost everything, is, rebuilding from start, is now fighting with Yelp. So man, I'm just buyer beware today. I'm caveat emptor today. There are people who are going to come to you who are going to want to upsell you or sell you something, or you need to be listed here, you need to be listed there. Is it Phil who loves the free things so much? We love the free things. And there are real free things. Don't think that, oh, this isn't worth anything because it's free. Your Google business page listing is free to use, and the amount of income that you can get from that is huge. So, I know we got a lot of new people on here. Don't be fooled. That's just my caveat for the day, is don't be fooled. No one is, doing golf course booklets and you're the preferred whatever, and here's the other thing. If somebody comes to you, they want your money. Don't ever forget that.
That's really good advice, Celicia. And I would just tell everybody on the call, if you guys are stuck for ideas on how to market your business and you feel the need to look into these kinds of things where, for Yelp or the golf thing, I know like school magazines and things like that are also, there's a few of those that are kind of shady. Please reach out and ask someone if you're feeling weird about it. I'm happy to help you answer that. I feel like Celicia would be too. Laura, reach out to some of your trusted notary people that may be a few steps ahead of you and find out, because if you're stuck for ways to advertise your business for free, come see me. That's what I do.
Yeah. If it's a really great deal, it'll be there tomorrow, that, oh, it's only available today, the no be back clause.
Yeah.
Thanks, I'll pass.
Yeah, exactly. Good one. And yeah, I see Yolanda was saying that she made the costly mistake. Yeah, I almost did too, Yolanda. Someone told me like right before I was putting my money down on it, and thank God they did, because I saved some money.
I do want to add that not everything that's free is effective.
Right.
Google definitely is. There are, the ones we're mentioning definitely are, number one. And not everything that you pay for isn't a scam, right? There are some things that are appropriate for you to pay for, but you have to do the research, right? Some things you can get free, fabulous. Make sure that it's an effective, it's tried and true. Somebody else has said, oh yeah, I've had experience with that. But not everything will be free, guys. And I would go for all the free, low-hanging fruit that I can first. So I agree with that, but not everything can be free all the time. So just be aware, just because somebody charges doesn't mean they're a scam. Okay, that's all I wanted to add to that. Looks like Phil, Mr. Freebie himself.
I think that whole last 2 minutes was a prerequisite to a conversation about what I do. So thank you all so very much for leading into our services and what we provide. So whether you're fighting Yelp, whether you're fighting non-payers, whether you're fighting Google jail or insurance companies or whatever, we have a place for you to turn. So the transition to that was ideal. So as most of you know, today, 5 minutes after TNT is over, I will be doing a quick Zoom presentation where I will talk to you specifically about how to protect and grow your business. If you're looking for a side hustle, we can help you generate some additional income. Laura was nice enough to grace us yesterday. How days all come together, I can't remember stuff. But she was our guest speaker at our team call yesterday. But we have services that can help you with those things and so much more. And when you really get down to it, our identity theft protection program is, in my very biased opinion, the most effective program that any notary can get to protect themselves against all the bad stuff that's going on in that world. So I will post my number in the chat. Please feel free to text me and I will get you the link to the Zoom that starts 5 minutes after. And as always, a pleasure. And also, I need to remind everybody, 1 month, Laura, I know you'll talk about it, but 1 month from yesterday, basically, I think is D-Day for the Notary Symposium. So looking forward to being there with many of you who are part of TNT. So thanks again, everybody, and look forward to seeing you on the Zoom 5 minutes after the end of TNT.
Beautiful. Thank you, Phil. And since he mentioned Symposium, let me take this opportunity to just remind anybody who happens to be on the call who did not happen to register yet. Maybe you didn't hear about it because you're new to TNT. I want you to know that we do still have some seats available. All you have to do is go to notarysymposium.com. And for only the two groups that I work with, which is NBB and TNT, I've extended those welcome boxes. So even though you register after the date, I promise you will get a welcome box. You will not be left out. So that's notarysymposium.com. If you just go over there, then you can find out about all the phenomenal speakers. And the goal of this year's symposium is to learn about the results you're looking to get and who do you need to become to make those happen. Okay, thank you. And thanks, Jen. I saw that clapping. I couldn't hear it, but I saw it. Okay, we're ready. Is it Iceline? Please pronounce your name for me.
It's Icelina.
Iceline, okay, I was very
Iceline?
close. Yay.
Yeah, you were. So I just have a general question. Normally I don't have anything to say, but I received, this is a general notary call. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. And I received a call to do a POA. And I go through my random questions like, do it require witness? If you have witnesses, will everybody be available? Do you have, everybody have to have a valid ID? It cannot be expired, whatever. That his mother was blind. I was like, is she legally blind? Is she partially blind? Like, can she read her documents and understand? He said she was legally blind. So I was like, I can't help you because I can ask her, but if she can't see the documents to say she agreed to what is in the document, I'm not really, feel like I'm not covering the bases because I feel like a POA, I'm giving up somebody's right. I'm taking somebody's rights. So I really needed to have someone else to give me some reassurance that I was right. I hated to turn them away, but I know somebody else might do it for them, but I just need to know for myself,
Sure.
was I right?
Iceline, what state are you in?
I'm in Missouri, St. Louis.
Okay, so there are a lot of states that don't address this, and then there are some that are very specific. Florida, for instance, I believe says you have to read the document verbatim for them before you allow them to sign it. In California, we're not required to do that. What's recommended is that they can tell you what the document is, that they understand what it does, the consequence of the document. And if there's information that is significant, such as a dollar amount or a person who's going to be their attorney in fact, that they can tell you who that should be so you could confirm it. So if your state statute, and I don't know off the top of my head, Missouri's, but you should look there first to see what the direction is for disabled signers. If they give you direction, follow that direction. If they don't give you any direction, they don't address it, then the best practice is confirm with that signer in terms of their ability to know what the document is, if there's significant pieces of information that need to be confirmed, and of course, their ability to sign the document. And they can, you can put their hand to the right place, or a family member can do that, but then they got to let go so they can sign it themselves. I use one of those cards. It's a little bigger than a business card, and it has an opening in the middle of it so that their pen stays across the signature line instead of going up in the air. My own mom is legally blind, and yeah, she signs like up to the sky. So I use that card for whenever I have a signer who is blind. So you may not have had to turn them away, but if you didn't know what you were doing.
I didn't 100%. I told them, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't 100%. I knew this was today. So I told them after this, I will reach back out if I can get some better information. I
There you
just
go.
did not want to like put myself in a bond
Sure.
because of someone being disabled.
Yeah, and Iselene, the other thing is, are you a member of the NNA? Do you have hotline service?
I am a member of the NNA, but I actually have never used them either.
What a great opportunity. Call the hotline service and ask them for Missouri, for your state.
Okay.
Do they have a statute on board there that says yes or no? And if not, what would be the best practice recommendation? And get that as well.
Okay.
You know, it's all about resources, guys. If you don't know the info yourself, there's so many places to get it.
Yeah,
And that's I knew this was today, and I was like, I'm gonna grab this because normally you guys give so much great information, but I'm like, I had never heard this particular question. So I was like, I need to find out the answer. So hopefully somebody else might need it, but I needed the answer to that one.
A lot of people need the answer, and until it happens to them, they don't know they need the answer until it's at the moment at the table. And so today we've proactively helped people to know what they should do for their own state, find out what it says. All right.
Okay.
And what's the best recommended practice if there isn't a statute? So you've got that in your back pocket for when somebody calls you. So thank you for bringing that up.
All right,
That is
thank
a
you.
great question. Iselene, I would add just one little thing on there, and that is, and it's mostly just for everybody on the call, not you specifically, but don't ever be afraid to tell one of your customers that calls you and asks that question and you don't know the answer. Don't be afraid to say, that's a really great question. I'm not 100% sure of the answer, but I know where to go to be 100%. If you could just give me about 30 minutes, I will call you right back.
Yeah.
It's okay to say that. I didn't know that in the beginning, and someone told me that, and it feels weird, you know, because you feel like you're going to lose that customer or whatever, but it's they appreciate your honesty, and at least they know that you are getting the factual answer, right? So just kind of an FYI. And Laura, would you put in the chat where you got that card for
Yeah.
to help blind or people losing sight, their signature? That was a great question, Iselene. Thank you for sharing that. Is that Miss Carrie with Chicago Notary Service on here? You're on mute. Chicago Notary Service, you are up.
It is Carrie, FYI.
I
thought it was Carrie Rivera. Carrie, are you there?
It is me. I am so sorry.
There you are. Hi.
Hi, how you doing? How is everybody?
Good. I haven't talked to you in a while.
I know, I've been very busy. I literally just had a client in my office and he just walked outside. So I was like, oh my God, how do I do this meeting? Okay, so what was the question? What was going on?
You had just had your hand up, and so it is your turn.
I had my hand up. Okay, sorry. Oh, I think it was for the Phil, but he posted his number for the link afterwards. So.
Oh yeah, you were looking for the Legal Shield link. Yeah.
Yeah.
His number is in the chat.
I got that. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I had my hand up.
No worries. No worries. We can move along. It's good to hear your voice though.
Yes. Take care now. I'll bow out.
And before we go to Tony, I just want to say thanks, Matt. My right-hand chat man is in the chat there, helping to put in links and answering questions that we are not getting. Remember, guys, I can't necessarily answer your questions if you put them in the chat first, right? You have to come up here, otherwise I'm not seeing it. But thank goodness we've got Matt out there watching out for us.
Yay,
and picking them off and helping us. So thank you, Matt, very much. Now we can go to Tony and Georgia. Unmute.
Yes, hello everyone. My question is, are notaries allowed to give a referral fee to another notary for covering a signing for them?
Well, that's a little bit of a loaded question. So let me break it, kind of unpack that a little bit. So, of course, the first thing is when I take on an assignment from a company, whether it's title or assigning service, many times I've agreed not to subcontract that out to somebody else, that they're expecting me to take care of it. So I want to make sure that's not the situation you're describing, is that it's not automatically okay. That's why when I cannot handle an assignment, I contact them, and not them as in the hiring company, and indicate I'm not going to be able to handle this, but I have a colleague who's in the area or who can do it for you. And here's her information, so that the hiring, it goes back through them to the other notary. Now, whether that colleague who gets the job, if I have some kind of an agreement separate that says, hey, anytime I get a job going your way, it'd be nice to have a thank you.
You muted yourself, Laura.
No, that was me accidentally. I'm sorry, Laura. I actually muted you.
She
I was-
muted me.
Shannon, I was trying to mute Shannon. Her phone was making noise. Sorry.
Okay, so in any case, Tony, it's a different story if somebody gives you a thank you, basically, for getting them referred to get the job. But I'd be very careful, unless you're going to be assigning service, and this is what you do, I'd be careful about that. So it can be a yes and it can be a no. Jen, do you want to add to that?
Well, so I took Tony's question. I didn't consider the signing service piece of it, but Tony, where is the job that you're talking about coming from?
Well, no, this is just a question I was posing. But it's good to know about the signing. I understood about the signing agent, but my question was like, if someone, a local notary, had say a power of attorney or some type of healthcare, and they said, I'm going to refer this to me, but they want a referral fee. I just wanted to know if that was legal.
Unless there's a statute in your state that says otherwise, yes. And a lot of notaries will take a small referral fee. I can't do this job today. Tony, can you handle it for me? They're paying me $200, I'm going to take 25 off the top for the job or something like that. Like, that's different than what Laura's talking about. Right. Legal or not, I mean, unless there's a statute in your state that says it's not, and I don't know about Georgia, but I know a lot of notaries do that. They refer between each other for a small fee.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in the Georgia handbook, so.
Okay.
Well, it's not going to be in your notary handbook, but a good place to find out, are you a member of Legal Shield? Because the question is it legal?
Right.
And so I'm not an attorney. I can't say if it's legal or not, but you could call Legal Shield if you're a member and find out.
Is that the same as Legal Zoom?
Phil?
Legal Zoom is not the same. I don't know if they'll answer that question, but for you, but if they,
did I hear my name?
You did hear your name. So
yeah, Legal Zoom is a document company for the most part. They do not provide answers to questions for the most part. I mean, they have some different plans. Legal Shield is just, thanks, Julie. Thanks for all the nice words in the audience. But Tony, if you get a chance, come to the little Zoom that starts in about 20 minutes and you'll get all the details on what that service provides. But most importantly, it gives people access to questions that we all as entrepreneurs have. I mean, we all have legal questions, and instead of Googling it or instead of, asking Laura and Bill and Jen, who are great, but they have to be very careful, as all of us do. So talk to someone who really knows, especially every state is different and unique. Your state could be unique. So they're a great source of getting those questions answered, and it's a tax deductible business expense. Rocket Lawyer charges per hour. Just I'm answering people in the chat.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. So hopefully that helps answer your question, Tony. I know it wasn't a very clear answer.
No, that was very clear.
Great, Tony. Thanks for asking it, because sometimes we need thought-provoking kinds of things like that where we're not quite sure.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
What it is. So appreciate that. All right, Carmen, you're up.
Okay, hi, this is Carmen from Maryland, and I have a question about loose certificates. I'm going to try to ask that it's not confusing. You have a document that does not have notarial language, but it does have a place for a notary to sign and to put your commission date. do you sign that, attach the loose certificate and stamp that, or do you do all of the work on the loose certificate?
Okay, so you do not fill out the certificate that you're not going to use. If you're replacing that certificate, then you would write "see attached certificate" and add your own in replacement, and do not fill out what was provided. It's one or the other.
Well, no, I'm not saying one was provided. I'm just saying, so there are these school documents that people are bringing it to me to sign, to notarize for them. And there's a place for them to sign. There's a place for me to sign, but it's no notarial language on their document. So instead of signing their document at the notary spot, I attach the loose certificate and I sign and stamp that and attach that certificate to their document. But
Okay.
that leaves the notary line on their document blank. You understand?
Yeah, so now I get it. So I have two questions.
Okay.
Now, if I was in that position, I'd use the signature line they gave for me on the document to write "see attached certificate" with my
Okay.
initials. Then I would attach. But my question follow-up is, how do you know what certificate you're supposed to add when there isn't any direction for you?
Well, they pick if they want a jurat or an acknowledgement.
Sure.
So
I'm
I
glad to
offer
hear
the
it.
two. Okay, yeah, they
Just wanted to
select. I
check.
don't make this. Okay, so that's good to know. So in where I would sign, I would say "see attached" and I'll initial it, and then I will sign the certificate and stamp the certificate as I have been doing.
Yeah, we want to withhold our official signature to go with our official seal to go with
Gotcha.
our official language.
Okay, so what I have been doing is just not signing that, so I leave that whole notarial thing blank. And they sign their name, and then I attach the certificate and sign that. So I haven't left, but now I will add on the line, on the notary line, sign "see attached certificate" and attach it like it's like so and leave it. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to mute for a few minutes till my dog shut up.
I gotcha.
Okay.
Bernice, how are you today?
Hello, everybody.
Hello,
All is
Bernice.
well. Let me see if this is not coming right. I had a curious question for one of you, Laura or Jen. Have you ever had a situation where, and I'm in California, have you ever had a situation where someone refuses to give a fingerprint in your journal? And if so, how did you handle it?
Yes, I have. Only one time, actually, which is pretty amazing, over 30,000 notarizations almost 19 years later. It was for a required document. So the first thing is you have to determine if it's a required or non-required document. For those not in California, not everything requires a thumbprint, only real estate documents as well as power of attorney documents. Those are the only ones that are required. So if it was a non-required document, I would make a note of it and I would move on with the notarization because I cannot enforce my best practice, which is to get one all the time. When it's a required document, I let them know that it is the law of the land, that I'm required to get one. And if they want the notarization done in the state of California, they will have to give one. If not, we can stop the proceeding. And I had a military guy who did not want to give me a thumbprint, and it was a correction on a deed of trust. And I said, okay, then we won't be able to go further. And he said, well, I'll just go to the shipping center. I said, this isn't Laura Biewer's law. This is the state of California's law. There will not be a notary who will be allowed to do this for you. Fortunately, the wife stepped in and said, you're in the military. They know your shoe size. They know everything about you. What do you care? And he gave it to me, and we were able to move on. But I think the most important part is always determine, is it a requirement? And if it's not, you cannot force a practice on the public, only requirements.
Good, thank you. I had a situation recently where it was for a trust. So it was for property, and explained to the gentleman that it is a requirement, even showed in my California primer that it is a requirement. And he still refused. And so although I did the first certificate and signed it and stamped it, I just removed it. And though they were not happy because the document did not get notarized, that that part that was not notarized. So we just said, okay, thank you very much. They were, as I said, they were not happy about it, but I explained that it is a requirement, not my practice, but it is a requirement for property that we have to have the fingerprint. And it was, that part of the notarization was not done. I just wanted to share that with the group, that we do have to be careful to ensure that we are following our guidelines according to your state, because if you don't, it's a $25,000 fee that comes to you, and it ain't worth it.
No.
So I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Good advice.
Thank you.
Very good advice. Very good advice. And great question. Hi, Raquel. How are you today?
Oh, you're right.
I'm well, thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Raquel from California. I do have a question to pose in regards to non-payment from a signing service. It has exceeded about 100 days since I received, or since I completed the work and have not received any payment for that work. I've reached out to the signing company by way of email, telephones, and it seems to be that they're in non-existent currently. So before I follow the legal processes of filing a small claim against them, I wanted to know how, if anyone, number one, has ever dealt with this, and number two, if you have reached out to the title company that contracted the signing service to retain your payment or to obtain your payment from them. I reached out to the title company. They sent me a check that they provided to the signing service. So I'm just kind of stuck in this limbo to figure out what exactly I can do to retrieve payment from them for the work I completed. Is the title company liable to pay me because they contracted through the signing service, or what would be your advice and insight in regards to that?
One quick comment. I just want you to know, Raquel and I do not know each other.
I was just going to say, Raquel, do you have Legal Shield?
No, I do not. Hello, Matt. Hello, Pam. Thank you for that. Legal Shield. Okay.
Phil is a Legal Shield representative, and you might want to hop on the call, his call 5 minutes after this one, because I know that as notaries, that is one of the reasons that we contract with Legal Shield, is help in getting those kinds of payments, because sometimes all it does take is a letter from the attorney, right? I know, Laura, you've used Legal Shield in the past.
Yeah, they write the demand letters for me. And it's much different than Laura Biewer signing it than when you have, 30 attorneys in the letterhead.
Yeah, and Matt has a good point. It's your personal collections department when it comes to that.
It really is. And I do want to say, before we go to a demand letter from, 30 attorneys, did you document your steps? First of all, I don't think the title company is responsible because they didn't contract with you. They contracted with the signing service. They paid the signing service. So I think you're out of luck with them. But the signing service does owe you the money. And so have you documented, steps and timeframes that you took from the time you performed the work, what their promise was, what's their payment policy? Is their payment policy 30 days or is it 60 days?
It's 60 days. Yeah, but it's well exceeded that as well.
It's well exceeded that. And then how have you communicated with them, via email, via letter, snail mail, that you have documentation of your attempts to collect on this debt with the appropriate information, such as the date of service, the clients involved, what the amount is. So be prepared to have done that or to have that, because the attorney is going to ask you, what have you done to attempt to collect? And
I've done
if you have any of that evidence, then they're going to want it from you.
Okay. Yes, I've done all of that. And I have everything by way of, just files in terms of emails and have written it down as well. So I guess I will hop on how do we hop on the call for Legal Shield?
Phil's phone number is still showing on my chat, 408-821-2198.
Phil, would you put that in the chat one more time? So they don't have to go back and search through the chat, because I know it's a busy chat room. You can hop on the call with Phil. I'm just curious, Raquel, did you send them an invoice originally for this job?
Yes, I have sent them. I've created my own invoice, sent them an invoice, and I also sent that to the title company.
Okay.
And one last question, because these are simple things that might resolve it, is do you have a W-9 on file with them?
I do.
Okay, beautiful. Because sometimes it's just that simple. They won't cut a check because of a W-9. Have they responded in any way to indicate that you don't get the money or that there's a problem?
They have not responded and communicated anything. That's where I'm, my arms are up like, okay, well, what do I do at this point?
Well,
So are you even getting a voicemail when you call saying this is such and such title company, or is it just?
There's no connection with any type of company anymore. And there is no physical address for me to send them any type of snail mail and have any delivery confirmation, with that.
So on that, you know what? I'm going to tell you, I've had a company that went out. And I'm going to tell you, even Legal Shield isn't going to be able to help you with that. If they don't have somebody to contact with, they can't do it. They've got to have a contact and a physical address to send a demand letter to. So all you can do is provide them whatever last known information was, but they may not be successful in this case because there's nothing for you to go after.
All right. Thank you very much for all your insight.
Okay.
Thanks, Raquel. What a good question. Randy Venters, hello.
Hi there. How are you ladies doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
I am good. I just got done with the signing and I thought I'd hop on the call here. My question is, so I'm in the state of Washington and we are allowed to use translators as long as, I don't remember the exact wording, but as long as we're confident in the translator's ability to translate the documents and they speak both languages, English and the other language, we're okay. I had a signing on Saturday for a title company that I don't really like working with because they tend to cause a lot of stress and try to kind of sometimes force signings to happen. And the lady spoke, there was one signer, she spoke Vietnamese. So I have two questions. The first one is the lady spoke Vietnamese and she really didn't speak English, but we started the signing and then I got to one part and it's the affidavit of, or the one where I bought the house on this date and all this other stuff. And I was telling her, okay, read this line, answer the question. And she goes, I sign here. I was like, no, you have to read the question and put an answer in. And she's like, is this where I sign? And I said, you need to understand this. And I was trying to explain it, we couldn't get through it. I called the signing service, of course, it's Saturday, so they didn't answer the phone. I called the title company. Of course, they didn't answer the phone on Saturday. And then she called her daughter and her daughter said, oh, there's supposed to be a translator there. There's no one there. And I said, no. And so we can't continue. Can you please explain to your mom that we're not able to continue and why? And she tried. And then her mom called the loan officer and the loan officer said that she would translate over the phone. And I told her, no, I couldn't do that. I wasn't comfortable doing that. And she goes, well, I've done it before. And I said, I understand you may have done that before, but I'm not comfortable with you translating over the phone. I said, there's 100-some pages here. I'm not going to read it to you word for word in English and expect you to translate it. Is there, besides the, I'm not comfortable doing this and I'm not going to do this, is there some other legal reason to fall back on or some other statement to fall back on?
Well, I think it's always dangerous when you say, is there a legal reason? Sometimes there isn't a statute to support you. It's the fact that you hold this office and that you're expected to be able to stand tall against potential fraud, potential coercing, potential anything that could damage the integrity of that transaction. And you may not find an exact legal statute to support it, because I doubt your statute says it's okay or not okay by phone, right? It's probably not going to be clear enough for you to say, it says right here, that's not okay. Sometimes we have to stand on our own and say, this is not an acceptable method. I am not comfortable that my signer knows what they're doing in doing it this way. And there's no way for me to confirm, because I'm not speaking that other language. I don't know if you were on a conference phone where you could even hear it going back and forth. So I would not, I mean, in California, I couldn't do it anyways, but I wouldn't have, if it was legal in my state, I would not have an issue with saying, you know, for this to work well, I need to have a physical translator with me to take care of this. Let's get that scheduled. Can you get one out here? How fast can you get one out here? Maybe I got to come back in an hour. But how, you know, how can we rectify it other than the way they've recommended, because you're not comfortable with the way they recommended it. And they're not going to like it whether you have a legal statute or not, because you're delaying the signing, you know, any way you look at it.
Okay. And then my second one was, and with the same signing, her man, we'll say, because it wasn't her husband, had to sign a quitclaim deed. And when I'd known that ahead of time, and so I said, "Is he here?" Because he has to sign a form. She said, "Oh, well, I didn't know he had to sign anything. They said it was just me." And I said, "Well, no, there's this form he has to sign." And she said, "Oh, he's outside." And I said, "Okay, well, can you go get him?" She came back like probably 5 minutes later with the guy. And I said, "Okay, do you have an ID? I need to see your ID." And she tried to pull up a picture on her phone of his passport. And I said, "Well, that doesn't work. I have to physically see it." And she's like, "Well, this is all he has." And I said, "Well, then we can't continue because I have to physically see his ID. I can't let him sign." I said, "I'm not going to notarize this document without seeing his physical." And I said, "Does he have a driver's license? Does he have a state ID or something else?" And then she got on the phone and called somebody. And then they went back and forth. And after probably about 10, I said, "Okay, then we'll just move on. We'll move forward with everything else." Because at this point, this was before I figured out that she didn't understand English. I said, "We can move forward with everything else. If we can't get his ID here by the time we finish, then we'll have to have someone else come back and notarize that document, sign that document later." And after about 10 minutes, he pulled his driver's license out of his pocket. And I just thought that was very strange. And I was wondering, like, it looked valid, and I got my blue light out to verify it was real and all that stuff. Yeah. But I just thought it was very strange that, like, when I very specifically asked the first time, he said he didn't have anything. And then when it push came to shove, then he pulled out his driver's license.
Okay, Randy, that was an interesting story for us all here, but did you actually have any question with that particular part? Or you just wanted to share that part?
No, I just wanted to see.
Okay,
like,
I just want to make sure I didn't miss something.
No, just to share that, and then to see, like, if you've had those experiences where someone doesn't want to give you an ID for some reason.
Well, and it could be, you know, language barrier. Even if he spoke English, maybe it wasn't his primary. Who knows what motivates people to do what they do? But the bottom line is you followed protocol. No ID, can't notarize that. Let's move on.
All right, thank you.
Beautiful, thank you, Randy. All right, guys, guess what? I only have, I think, about another 90 seconds left on the call. One is on the 18th, I believe that's the next Tuesday, we will be dark for that one TNT, just that one. Both Bill and I are not available that day. So we're going to be dark on that day. So put that on your calendar, but we will be right back. I think it's the 25th, the following Tuesday. So I want to make sure everybody is aware of that, and Bill will likely put out a cancel email so that people know about that. Let's see. Jen, do you have any announcements?
You covered Symposium. That's the biggie that's coming up in oh my gosh, less than a month.
NNA. So I'd like to mention that although the early bird is still on till the end of October, what you might not know is as of last week, there were only 50 seats left. There's less than that now. So if anybody was thinking, I want to go to that, better to buy a ticket. And then if you have to refund it later, there is a payment plan. It's 175 down, and then I think 3 payments of 175. And if you want a registration form from me, I'm happy to send it to you. Just email me at my personal email address of Biewer, my last name, BIEWER @sbcglobal.net. And I'm happy to get that facilitated for you. If for any reason you're planning to bring a guest to other things, then whatever that cost is, that has to be paid in full. The only payment plan part is for you. You're part of it. So if it's a $700 fee for the conference, it'd be $175 would be your payment plan. If it's you and somebody else, then you got to pay that other part. But in any case, I fully expect they'll probably be sold out before the early bird ends. The other information is that they no longer have they have rooms at the hotel, the Talking Stick, but not at the NNA rate. But there is a hotel, same parking lot called Quality Inn, sharing the same driveway. So if you have any issues with getting a room at Talking Stick, the Quality Inn right next door using the same driveway has rooms.
I'm glad I got my hotel room when I did. Laura, Darlene mentioned your real world training on Thursday.
Well, you know what, Darlene,
Nevada.
kudos for you. Thank you. If you're a Nevada notary and you would like to spend some time reviewing your state statutes and then practicing notarization in private rather than the public, then this Friday at 10 a.m. will be my real world training for Nevada. So if you're a Nevada notary, I hope you're able to come. If you're not Nevada, but you are in a state that I've already done one of these, then you could go to coachmelora.com/real, REAL, and you can see if I've already done your state and you can get to it that way.
Awesome.
All
And
right.
that's Friday, not Thursday. Friday. Yes. Friday. 14th. Yes. Sorry.
Friday the 14th at 10 a.m. Pacific, which we're on the same time frame. We should be. Okay. I don't have anything else except thank you guys for being on board with us today. Thank you for everybody who participated, asked questions. Thank you, Jen, for joining me today. Thank you, Matt, for managing chat for us. So appreciate it. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye, guys. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye, everybody.